Conversations on Economic Opportunity, produced by Ann Arbor Spark. Ann Arbor Spark is a public-private academic partnership that's creating economic activity and prosperity in the Ann Arbor region. Innovative businesses and leaders are what make Ann Arbor a destination for startups and growing global businesses. By sharing their stories, they share what makes this region stand out for the exceptional schools, abundant parks, amazing community services that all contribute to our quality of life. Conversations on Economic Opportunity are a way to spotlight those who are helping this region thrive.
So joining me today on the podcast is Jeff Hauptman, who is the CEO of Oxford Companies in town, a company that many of you, as you drive around, see that logo and see that sign. So Jeff is, in addition to his leadership of Oxford, he is also a board member of Spark. And so we wanted to have a chat with him today about the company and what he sees going on in the Ann Arbor market as we are coming, I guess, hopefully out of COVID into a post-COVID period. So, Jeff, the story of you founding Oxford Companies as an undergrad at U of M and achieving such long-term consistent growth is really remarkable. Can you tell us a bit, share with our audience how Oxford got started and more about your business in general?
Sure. Well, I started, I'm a local townie, grew up here, went to Thurston, Clegg, Huron, went on to the U of M to become a doctor and ended up doing a total 180 around my sophomore year, got really interested in real estate, the urban environment, homelessness, and then actually started just trying to find any kind of real estate related jobs I could find. And that led to working for a broker in the area, doing leasing, started a little construction company, and brought that all together when I went over to Swisher after I graduated. I got the opportunity over there to manage properties. And once there, and actually was there for about 9 years, first project I got to work on, first big project was the Galleria. And ended up purchasing that, and I'll share this slide with you. So it kind of went from there. Purchased the Galleria. I was about 26, and then just went on acquiring, eventually leaving Swisher and forming Oxford Property Management and continuing the construction. And we, as you can see, continued its slow but steady growth for the last 25 years, getting into residential in 2011, and now creating basically the largest commercial real estate firm in town. So we've about 100 people, about 2.6 million square feet under management, about $500 million in assets under management, and about 1,000 beds, mostly on campus. And really, you asked about the company itself. It's really about the group here. We're fully integrated, vertically integrated commercial real estate investment firm. So basically, we take it from all steps. We take it from you're acquiring to the leasing. Then we're going to build the space out for you, and we're in it for the long haul. So we're not brokers where we're going to find a space and then set you up with the landlord. We're not the construction company. We're going to come in and build it out and be done. Our strategy is to be with someone from the time they start looking till they're ready to grow into their next space. And so we're long-term property managers, and that's basically brought us to where we are today.
Right, and on your chart that you just showed, one of your most recent acquisitions is a well-known high-rise property out at Briarwood, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about the state and Eisenhower corridor later, but that property 777 on the skyline is a property that many people see every day, and so I know that's a recent acquisition. You over our program, at Spark over the year. And as a part of our A2 Tech 360 program, we do this Fast Track Award, which was something that got started back when we were doing deals of the year. Not when we were doing it, but MLive was doing it, and we incorporated that program. But what's interesting about Oxford is you're now a 9-time award winner of that. And for the audience, what our criteria for that is, to get into that club, you first got to have 3 years of 20% year-over-year growth. So then, since then, you've received that award for 9 straight years. So that speaks to 12 years of year-over-year growth of more than 20%. And I know a lot of it is, everything in life can be timing and situations that you run into. But I think, probably a lot of your success is contributed to by the culture that you develop in your company. But what do you credit that success to?
Well, I think you said it, it does sound cliche, but I am really fortunate to have a great group. Culture's huge. COVID's made it really hard, right? Trying to keep everybody together through a remote environment. But we have our core values. We actually refer, you see, it says Oxford Crew. Of course, it's 2019 is the last time we got everybody together in one big photo. So I'm really looking forward to getting another photo like that for next year. But Crew is actually our core values. It's constant improvement, respectful and accountable, exceed expectations, and work together. And we regularly award people for exemplifying those values. And we grade ourselves in those values and look for how we can continue to improve how we show the community, our customers, the people around us, how we exhibit those core values. So that's huge. And to us, the philosophy is, a happy team, a successful culture, great team is going to take better care of the customers, our tenants. And of course, happy tenants stay. So tenant retention is critical to success in our business. And then, of course, the other thing is I got lucky. I guess I picked the right parents because here I am in Ann Arbor. And so, it's a relatively small market, but the university has always provided this town with an incredible kind of cushion from the rest of the realities of the world. So that's really helped to drive, I think, in general for Ann Arbor, that's slow but steady growth, and sometimes not so slow, as you mentioned in the Fast Track Award.
Yeah. What's interesting, I guess, looking at the photograph, and this is, something that we kind of highlight, is that you have a team here that are representative of individual families, right? That many times when people think about real estate business, they don't realize how many people are actually working to make those rental spaces what they are, to be able to lease them, to keep them in good condition, all of that. And so, one of the things that's just heartened me by this photograph is, wow, that's a lot of people with really good jobs working in our community and contributing sort of to the virtuous cycle that we always talk about, with people being employed, they're engaged in their community, they're buying houses, they're doing things. And so that's great. It's a great photo that you're sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great group.
Yeah. So, no doubt, as we're talking here in December of 21, COVID has had a profound impact on the commercial real estate market here in Ann Arbor, and all over the country, obviously. And so what do you see as the most prevalent market trend currently? And how do you think the pandemic is going to impact the market long-term for Southeast Michigan, but more specifically for Ann Arbor?
I grabbed a slide for you that I thought was kind of fun. We presented this at an investor meeting not too long ago. these headlines, really nothing's changed for like a year now. I think business leaders are still trying to figure out what their office strategy is. You know, our priority has been to maintain stability, keep calm. We've always worked on improving how we deliver service, how we do everything internally, how our buildings present themselves. So across the board, it's you don't stop. You just keep trying to find ways to deliver what the customers are looking for. You know, in terms of gross office demand, I think you will see an increase over the long term because the economy is continuing to grow. You know, there's still a lot to figure out. We've seen strong activity in medical, diagnostics, industrial warehousing, but we also have a lot of office tenants that have been kicking the can down the road, signing, you know, 1 year, 3-year extensions when normally they might sign 5 years. Vacancy is up in Ann Arbor even, but we have maintained our occupancy in the high 80s, which is just still quite healthy. We've had a lot of activity, actually, a lot of lease activity. So that's been reassuring. We're seeing a big transition on a lot of our buildings from office to a lot of lab. I think we've signed well over 100,000 square feet of lab space this year in Ann Arbor. And then I think while people are suffering from Zoom gloom and cultures in general having difficulty, people, you know, because people want to still be able to put on their pajamas and grab a snack from the fridge. And one thing I've been hearing is one of the drives to stay home is people like to use their own toilet. So, you know, plus, you know, commuting, that kind of thing. So, you know, these are things that we got to figure out how to adapt and how to create ways for people to want to come back, things that you can't do at home. Right. You know, we're constantly trying to ask ourselves, you know, what amenities can we deliver on scale that you're not going to get at home? You know, one of the ones that we've talked about is some buildings, maybe that, not that everyone plays golf, but Ann Arbor loves, a lot of Ann Arborites like golf. What about a golf simulator? You can't have that necessarily, you know, not everyone can have one of those at home. They're very expensive. It's a big capital item. Yeah. But, you know, if we had one in the basement at 777, you can imagine a lot of tenants would be like, hey, you know, I'm going to go to the office today because I want to get in 9 holes or if we could, one of the things we're doing at 777, just another example here, is we have 2 restaurants we've already signed that we're building out right now for the first floor, and working on a 3rd. Because again, it's one thing to be able to order, you know, Grubhub or go to your fridge, but if I can provide you places where you can actually go and get some good fresh food and enjoying your friends while you're at it, you know, again, it's adding conveniences that you can't easily do at home. So scaling conveniences is a big deal.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is kind of to share, this is a week where we go through our normal staff review process that we do every year in terms of checking in on performance and teeing up for the next year. And, you know, one of the things is we have a self-evaluation part, and then the individual managers contribute to that particular individuals. But what you see is folks that are across the spectrum of introversion to extroversion. And you can see that the folks that were strong extroverts in our company being Spark, are really wanting to get back into the environment where they can exchange ideas and collaborate and do those things. And then the folks that we have that are very strong introverts, and we have people on the whole end of the spectrum, they're just thriving at home, like you're saying. It's like this, you know, and like the data is showing that productivity has been up during the pandemic, but the question is how sustainable is that long term versus short term, right? But you know, and the other point is that I think this is something that you probably can comment on, how your tenants are talking to you about how they want to configure their space is potentially different too. You know, are they, as you said, and I understand the terminology, densification was the trend in tech, more people and less space, square footage. And now what you're getting is more, well, maybe we're going to have more of a hot desk type of environment, and with spaced out collaborative space, to deal with people's concerns about social distancing and all that. So it's an interesting, you could just say it that way. It's an interesting time to be involved in this, because there are so many variables that are at play. And I don't think anybody, as you showed on the news media slides, nobody really has a crystal ball as to where we're going to end up in a couple of years. So being flexible is probably the best approach right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And to that densification, I mean, we saw it probably start to hit its bottom, I would say, right before COVID. Google launched these trends of condensing what the area people would sit in, and then having more collaborative space. And we're hearing more about people wanting to spread out.
Yep.
People don't want to be on top of each other. We're also hearing a big debate over hoteling, right? Because businesses are saying to themselves, well, we'll say you are in 2 days a week, and then that means I can put someone else in that desk for 3 days a week. And people are saying, well, I don't want to share my whole workspace with somebody else. I mean, how well are you cleaning these things? And now I got to move my stuff all around. And some people don't care, but a lot of people do.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that there has been there's a shift because of a significant talent shortage. We all know about it sort of in our day-to-day life. When you go to the store and there's one person who's at the counter versus maybe four in the past. But in the tech related companies, there is a war for talent across the country. Remote work has helped some companies with that. But the main thing that's come to me is there's been a shift in the balance of power. With getting to your point, the employees are basically saying, well, I've got 3 or 4 offers. What's my desk going to be like in your office? Oh, you're telling me I'm going to share with somebody else? Well, I don't like that. Where maybe pre-COVID, it was a different dynamic, right? So there's a little more power on the employee side now, as everybody is trying to get those talented individuals into their company. For sure.
You mentioned a good thing, because so you're bringing that new person in. You got to train them. You got to mentor them. How easy is that over Zoom?
Exactly. And
then I'm hearing stories about, of course, we've talked about this as Spark. You hear stories about people working 2 or 3 jobs at the same time that are supposedly full-time jobs. And then you have some of those same people that are able to say, look, they've never shown up in the office because they've been working remotely the entire time. Someone makes them a better offer. You get a text or a Teams message, and they said, sorry, I'm out of here. Like, what? And that's it. They're gone. Yeah. There's no loyalty. You're not building loyalty when you're not connecting with people.
Exactly. And one of the things on this particular point that I'm again reflecting on our own organization is that we had a team that was together for a long time. So the shift to remote, because they had worked together in person, there was the ethos of what we do, who we are, and the loyalty to that, and trust with each other. The challenge was we had vacancies. And as you said, when you bring in those new people, they haven't been in that culture or in that environment. And fortunately for us, these folks have adapted very well, but it is a different kind of adjustment to, oh, I've been in your office space for the last 2 months. I get how people act with each other. I get how they work. Yeah. So
right.
Got to close out. So one of the things that I wanted to touch on, because I know you're very passionate about it and been working with us on it, and have showed a lot of leadership in this regard, is really thinking about how to turn the State Street corridor into a place, if I can say it any other way. I'm coming here from other places in the country. I'm struck by when you get off the freeway 94 in State, you don't really have a sense of the community that you've come into, what it's really all about. It looks like any freeway interchange any place else in America. Yet, as we talk about the university, the largest publicly funded research university in the United States, great tech companies, great quality of life and environment. So you have been in to some extent, very much so, putting your money where your mouth is, really passionate about what we could do in on the State Street corridor. Can you talk a little bit about what you'd like to see there and why you think that's so important?
I would love to. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you get off a state, get onto state from I-94 and you're just like, where am I? Yeah. Right? You got the signage from the 50s and it's just kind of gross. So yeah, this is kind of this slide has been seeing some getting quite a few views. We're very passionate about state and Eisenhower, and give you a little view right there. It's actually, people don't know this, it's the largest retail and office area in the entire county. It's got, if you think about Ann Arbor having about 85,000 cars coming in every morning and leaving every night, about half of them are coming through State 94. So I mean, this is a busy area, but there's like no housing almost. It completely lacks any semblance of a neighborhood, as you said. It's no continuity, no voice. It's just basically languished. And so we're working with Briarwood, the major mall. We're working with the university, with the city, and with all of our neighboring property owners to try to create some solutions. Get this place into something that we can all be proud of and actually solve a lot of the issues that Ann Arbor is facing at the same time, everything from housing to the 2030 environmental concerns to tax base. So one of the first things is creating a biz district, a business improvement zone, creates a sense of place, improving the entrance to Ann Arbor, more of a voice for the area. And actually, thank you, Paul, for all of your help on this. And a big thanks to Phil Santer over there at Spark. He's been instrumental in making this happen. I'll just give you a few examples of some of the fun ones that we've been working on and sharing this with some of the people in the city and at the state level. You've got your asphalt covered medians. Where they're not asphalt, sometimes you've got the ones that just basically are grass, but just they let go. And then of course, how about your lack of sidewalks? This is not a pedestrian area. This is car centric, right? Of course, where you do have sidewalks, they'll often dead end into something, right? They lead to nowhere kind of sidewalk. From a general pedestrian safety concept, if you want to cross the street from my office to go to restaurants across State Street, it's basically like playing human Frogger, right? And so we really want to eventually lead through this biz district, the city, to find a way to actually move forward on their State Street plan. This was something that's proposed a few years ago. Would love to see it happen. Basically just making the area safer for people walking around, safer for cars. I mean, just making the area a better place to be. To give someone a good perspective of what this area is like down here. My guys put these two slides together. They're kind of fun. This is downtown, okay? And you can see how dense it is. And most of what you see in white is either grass or streets. Now, the same area on State and Eisenhower is right here. What you see mostly is parking lots and huge wide streets that aren't needed. So, what we're working on right now, the city is moving this forward, is this TC1 zoning. So you improve the density, which is what you need for all these things we're talking about. The city has it's been working and moving forward this TC1 overlay, and it's going to allow the ability to make this area we can't replace our downtown. Our downtown has character that's just remarkable, but we can add density, make it so it's more pedestrian friendly, safer, get cars off the road, so there's a lot of different things we can do to help with environmental issues, to help with tax base, and big one, housing, right? We desperately need to add housing. And as you know, any kind of housing is going to help our issue, right? We have a big demand for affordable housing. We have big demand for all kinds of housing. We have 2% vacancy in this market. So when you start adding housing, even if it's market rate housing, you're adding to the supply. And it's just simple Econ 101. There's actually a study by the Upjohn Institute, nonprofit, nonpartisan, that said exactly that. Add any kind of housing, you're going to improve and make the market more affordable. So anyway, so increasing housing, basically, you're going to promote alternate means of transportation. You're going to be bringing people closer to their jobs, better entertainment opportunities. All this is going to come out of that TC1 zoning. So while again, it's not downtown, we believe we can duplicate some of that on the south side. And I was going to say, there's a little aerial. This is the catalyst. As you're familiar, this is the parking lot over at 777 and 789 Eisenhower. And we're looking to do something kind of like this, that parking lot. So you can again see this 10 acres of parking lot. This isn't necessarily a final plan, but it's an ideation. And you're talking about hundreds of units of housing, first floor retail. So all the people in the area can walk to get some lunch or walk to get some convenience items as opposed to getting in their car. And eventually may even have a hotel, Civic Plaza. Basically, this is a first step for the south side. And then, of course, it can go from there. There's going to be all sorts of opportunities in this area, but it's going to require that joint effort by the university, the city, Briarwood, all the owners. But this does have the potential, the south side on its own has the potential to address big revenue shortfalls we've been hearing about, move us close to the 2030 environmental goals, and provide probably a majority of the housing that we've been trying to figure out as a city, how to get it, where to put it. We can do a lot of that down here. So really does address the issues.
Yeah, so a couple of things just to highlight for the audience, because oftentimes when we have these conversations, we specifically know what we're talking about, and maybe not the audience. One is what the business improvement district is the willingness of the existing property owners to create a district and to essentially increase the taxation on themselves, as long as it's contributing to improving the area that is in the district. So just make sure, I want to get that on the page.
Right. This is a self-tax.
Right.
Yeah.
This isn't like we're marching down to City Hall and saying, though you and I both agree that we think the city should be investing more of its own resources in this area. But again, this is where we're trying to develop sort of the public-private partnership to drive that forward. The other thing that you mentioned, and I think is really important for the audience who particularly might live in Ann Arbor, is we have to recognize that the city of Ann Arbor is landlocked. There is no ability for annexation or to grow the physical size of the city. And I don't know the exact number, maybe you have it on the top of your head, but the amount of land that the university takes up in the city is substantive. I'm not sure what the exact percentage is, but it is, we all know it's quite a bit. So being able to come forward with a strategy that is a redevelopment strategy in a part of the city where, as you point out rightfully, character is not really the issue like we have downtown. We love the buildings downtown. We love the environment. This is sort of 1960s era or 70s area kind of architecture that we need to improve the character to make it a place where people want to locate their business, where they want to live, where they want to shop. So I'm really pleased, I would just want to really acknowledge your leadership in this regard. I think it's really important. And one of the things that your chart that you have up on the screen right now really points to is we've also had this dynamic change in how people buy things, and it is really affecting the mall. And we really need to rethink as a community how we work with the owners of the mall and the surrounding property owners to do something that is going to really add value to our community, because malls are being challenged all over the country, right? In terms of the new retailing model. So really great, Jeff. Thanks for spending time with us. Thanks for your leadership. Thanks for being a part of the Spark leadership as well. And for sure, we'll be checking in with you sometime in the near future to see how things are coming along.
Sounds great, Paul. Thanks. Have a great holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Conversations on Economic Opportunity. We hope you'll like and share the content you heard today. For additional podcasts and information about Spark, visit AnnArborUSA.org.